Hello and welcome to a new YouTube tutorial by Peakboard. Today, I want to introduce you to the Peakboard Designer. The Peakboard Designer is comprised of 5 main areas: the Package Explorer, the screen, the menu bar, the controls, and properties. Let's start with the Package Explorer. By right-clicking on the field, we can create global events. When doing this, we can distinguish between swiped events, when a mouse pointer passes over an area or a touchscreen is swiped, key events, such as if a button is pressed on a keyboard or another input such as a barcode scanner connected over a USB is used, script error events, when a script fails, and data source update events, which are executed when a data source can't be updated properly. The last 2 global events serve to signal to the viewer that something isn't working as intended. The upper 2 act as a mode of interaction with the Peakboard box. Next, we can look at the different data sources. Here, we first have the option to add simple variables such as strings, numbers, or booleans. Additionally, we also have the ability to create complete lists of variables. Under Data Source, we have the opportunity to add different and diverse data sources. Let's start with the system data sources. For example, we can create a time data source or a Lua script table. In the next section, we can add web data sources. We can add an RSS feed, a CSV file, a JSON string, an Open Data Protocol, an XML file, an email address which allows Peakboard to both receive and send emails, a web page table, or a Microsoft calendar. Using Peakboard, it's possible to access SAP, Azure SQL, SQL, and Dynamics Nav databanks. Using the Peakboard Bridge, data from local servers can also be integrated into the visualization, such as, for example, Excel tables. Next, we're going to find the social media data sources, such as Instagram and Twitter. Beside these, there's also the option to display Slack channels and even to post in these directly from the Peakboard box. In the second to last section, we have the machine and sensor data sources. Here, we can access all of the Azure hubs and read and visualize MQTT Broker, OPC UA, and Siemens S7 data. The last section contains the Peakboard Cloud, which can be used by all Peakboard customers free of charge. In order to organize the data sources, we can also use Add Data folder to create folders in which data sources can then be sorted. Additionally, data sources can be copied and inserted across different visualizations. Under Data Sources, we see timers, which are time scripts that can be executed after a set interval, or at a specific time. In the Peakboard Designer, we generally use the programming language Lua. Using interval, we can determine the time or interval when the script should be executed. Furthermore, we can use mode to indicate whether the script should be executed once or repeatedly. Under the bullet point Screens, we can add new screens. Screens are comparable to a slide in a PowerPoint presentation. They're what the viewer of a Peakboard visualization ultimately sees. Over Edit Screen Size, we can determine the dimensions of a screen. This is mostly useful when the visualization is displayed on a screen that doesn't have a 16:9 aspect ratio. In Screens, we can move and copy elements between visualizations. For this, we again use the Paste button. If we right-click on the actual screen, we have the option to copy, delete, duplicate, or change the screen's position in the sequence. In this bottom section of the Package Explorer, Resources, we can insert static resources, such as images or an Excel table. Besides that, we can also create global scripts here. Next, we're going to take a look at the Controls section. Under Common, commonly used controls such as text boxes or tables are typically listed. These, like any other controls, can be placed on the screen using drag and drop and resized by clicking on and dragging the corners. Under Media, we can insert pictures or galleries. Shape gives us a selection of shapes that we can use in our visualization. Document allows us to place documents onto the screen. Using Chart, we can visualize the data from our data sources. The Advanced Chart function in particular offers a lot of options here. Input Controls allows us to interact with the Peakboard. Under Extended, we can find other controls for the visualization, such as auto-generated QR codes or entire websites. And Peakboard I/O allows us to display data from the Peakboard Cloud or Google Analytics. Under Controls, we have the Properties area. Using these, we can set the properties of the various controls. Here, we can, for example, change the background color of the screen, as well as the font and size of any text. In the middle of the designer, we have the screen. This is the primary element of the visualization, in that this is what viewers will eventually see. Above the screen, we can find the menu bar. Under Home and New, we have the opportunity to create a new empty visualization, or to use a template. Here we can choose between grid, use cases, background, and script templates. Located to the right of this are the Peakboard box controls. Using Open, we can open visualizations that are already running on a box in order to edit them. Using Deploy, we can upload a visualization that we've made onto a Peakboard box, and with Manage, we can look at and manage all of the boxes. Here, we can, for example, restart or update boxes. Besides this, we can also change the active visualization or take a screenshot. These actions, however, are also possible in the Peakboard app. Next to the Peakboard settings, we have the File settings. Here, we can open or save visualizations. Next to that, we have the Package settings. These are for the visualization. Under Settings, we can set the name or the version of the visualization, while under Properties, we can set rules for the visualization. The Script section contains the editor, which displays all of the scripts that the visualization contains. Here, we can also delete scripts. The section Runtime allows us to look at our visualization in the same way that it will be displayed on Peakboard Box's screen. The Info section provides information about the designer and allows us to update it. Additionally, it allows us to directly access the Peakboard Help website, which provides a lot of very helpful information about the Peakboard Designer that we're also constantly working to expand. Over I/O, we can access the Peakboard I/O portal directly, and History allows us to undo actions and redo undone actions. Lastly, we'll look at the Format section. Firstly, we have the Surface Layout option, which allows us to set the position of a control on the screen. Under Control Layout, we can change the positions of multiple controls relative to one another. The snapping options enable us to position controls freely or with the aid of helper lines. Controls that have been fixed can be unfixed or edited using the options in the Control Fixations section. Under Fonts, we can change the fonts. These are the most important functions in the designer. If you're interested in our designer, you can download it for free via the link that I've placed below. If you have any questions, please go ahead and leave us a comment.